Hi y'all, I'm Morgan and welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing the book review for The Quarter Storm by Veronica Henry. I received a Kindle copy of this book as a Goodreads giveaway a few months ago, and I was really excited to read about it, with the description of it being about a voodoo priestess and a detective teaming up to solve a grisly murder in New Orleans. Now, the Amazon description is a little bit different than what the Goodreads description did, but that's probably because a lot of the Goodreads descriptions are just snippets, and I guess they're trying to sensationalize, bring you in more, but different, to say the least. Our main character is Mambo. I think I want to try to say the official title right. Mambo Rena Dumont. She's a Haitian-American immigrant who has been living in New Orleans since she was 6. So she calls New Orleans home. Everything about it reminds her of her childhood and her mother, which at the very beginning of the book, we are in a flashback per se. And we find out that she is using her gifts to be able to try to scry for her mother. And her gifts being that Mambo Dumont is a voodoo priestess, and she was chosen at a very young age by one of the spirit guardians. The book said guardians more. They're not necessarily gods, because something Rena mentioned several times in the book is she doesn't look at voodoo as a religion. It is more of a heritage, a tradition that they are practicing and passing on. And that's also one of the big argument things that she has to have with her ex constantly. But she was chosen by the guardian spirit, probably should not guardian, but the spirit Izule, whose domain is over water and children and healing. So her practice is primarily a healing voodoo practice. Healing or clarity of mind of some sort with harsh decisions that they might be having to make. It is really interesting too how some of the aspects of it worked, because some of the facets weren't like, you'd think she's really doing something. It's like, okay, follow these directions and the spirits will guide you to what your correct answer is. Once you get there, your mind will know what you should do. And really, I think that's a good friend. That's a good mentality, that really you're working through those steps yourself and just being guided by the universe. In the present though, Mambo Dumont is taking on a new client. Sophie has come to her seeking a doll of sorts to make her boyfriend stay with her, to make him want to stay with her. So it's like a little puppet, and she tries to caution him, this isn't probably the right thing to do, but she makes it for him. After Sophie leaves, she notices that she's left her thumb ring there. So Mambo Dumont goes to take the ring to her at the address Sophie gave, which is an apartment in the French Quarter above a store called Voodoo Reel. When she gets there though, she finds that it is surrounded by police and onlookers, and finds out that Sophie's boyfriend has just been horribly murdered, and the cops are hauling away the voodoo priestess who owned and operated the store as the prime suspect for the murder. And this is where stuff really, really begins to get messy. So this story was different than I thought it was going to be, because based kind of, off the initial snip description that I read, I did think that it would be more magical realism kind of. And while voodoo does play a big part, it is more practical through the whole book, that's cool. That makes way more sense for everyday life. But at the same point, our main character does seem kind of a bit stuck at the same point. I don't feel like she grew too much through the story. Like, she stumbled upon the crime scene and she just wanted to investigate to help clear the name of a fellow priestess before it made all of the voodoo and hoodoo practitioners in New Orleans suspect and under investigation, and just diminished because everybody thought they would be evil because of what they do. So she is immediately wanting to help clear the woman's name because of that. But then it seems to be less about that sometimes as it goes on. I mean, it's always kind of brought up, but it's brought up as in those exact words. I have to clear her. She does bring up the fact that she's an innocent woman. She believes she's an innocent woman a lot, but it's just the repetitive nature of I have to do this to clear her. I have to do this to clear her. It wasn't well done there, I feel. So once she has made up her mind, though, that she is going to investigate into why there was voodoo ritual paraphernalia everywhere and what happened, it made it seem like that was her mission, and she started to forget other parts of her life, like the fact that she needed to see her own clients and customers to be able to continue to, get food and pay her bills. She put those off to the side burner several times, and she put her own life on the line and the lives of people close to her on the line, seemingly without care. Like, she was warned by several people close to her, her father, her ex-boyfriend, detective cop, and another very powerful, influential voodoo priest in the area. Everybody was telling her, don't investigate this, it'll take you somewhere bad, you could get hurt, leave it alone, just let us do our jobs, you don't need to be involved in this. But she refused to listen. And this is my first problem with the part of the story. All the main characters are the one putting her down, saying stop. Why wouldn't I get her dad, who really isn't involved, but I get him saying, it's not your business, just stay out of it. But the other two, especially after like the third or fourth time of telling her, realizing she's not going to listen, why not just tell her another reason why? That one, you're investigating it on your own. Look her into that investigation. Work together. Don't hide details, knowing this woman's still going to go off stubbornly and try to get herself killed. Is a very strong-willed person, obviously. She's very stubborn, very strong-willed, and she's smart. And that's how she knew that there was something wrong here. She figured out that there was holes in the story. She figured out this and this and put pieces together, but yet stubbornly going off on her own again and again, against the wishes of everybody. So after that, though, I will say that I do admire her determination and her drive to see an innocent person, believably innocent person, because she goes back and forth about believing whether or not the lady could have really killed the upstairs tenant. But yeah, she put herself and one of her friends that she's always trying to get out of like bad situations. She keeps trying to tell the girl, you don't have to fight and everything, you should go to college. But yet she actively puts the girl in a lot of danger. Didn't really mean to, I suppose, but by not really knowing what she was doing and being out of her depth, she did. Letting that go, though, one of the big plot points, though, that she uncovered, it doesn't resolve in the book at all. Like, okay, this happened, and it was done probably by this person, but the reasons behind it, much less clear. And it was never really, it was just let go. And she even kind of like washed it from her and was like, okay, I'm not going to think about that again. Nope. I don't know if it'll come up in the next book. I kind of doubt it, because I kind of think it's a big open hole that nothing's going to come from. So I don't know where that was going or why it was even added in there. I mean, I get why a little bit in it. She uncovered something really big truth that, changed some things and brought to light some things after Katrina. I don't remember if I mentioned that her mother did die in Katrina, or she is believed to be dead after the storm. And what Mambo Demond uncovers has to do with what's happened in New Orleans following the levees breaking and after time had passed and the water receded and people trying to still live there. Now we are to the big final confrontation battle of the book. And I would say that it played out fairly well, except for 2 points. Okay, one being that a sort of kind of ally, instead of, like I said, letting her know what he was investigating to, roping her into something, he sent his bodyguard person to delay her, not to tell her to stop, not to say, hey, look, he's coming, why don't you two go confront this person together? To delay her in any means he thought necessary. So they had a machete fight. And then the actual person who it was and how the battle took place. Based on everything they had said about this character, she'd uncovered about him, he kind of should have been way too weak for most of that to happen. Otherwise, it was a cool little battle scene. Then the final portion of the book, we are again seeing where she is thinking about her mother, and we go into another flashback of the night that Katrina actually hit. And it just feels a little out of place with what it says happened and everything. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure why this was here. It doesn't seem to bring any kind of closure. It was just a little weird and out of place. It wasn't a bad book. I can see where she's trying to go maybe with the character and how she wants to turn this into more of a thing. And like I said, the character does seem really strong-willed, like someone you could want to get behind who's going to fight for the right things. But I don't know, it just went too wishy-washy. It went too against the grain sometimes, I suppose. Hopefully in future books it will get better, as a lot of authors do and a lot of characters do. Overall, I probably won't continue with the series, but I would recommend this book for anybody who would like to read anything with the sprinklings of voodoo set in the beautiful New Orleans area and actually wants to see real feels of what people go through, how prejudiced people can be based off religion or income or skin color. That is delved into in this book. It was really well done in some of these aspects, and just how much pressure too somebody can put on themselves from their family, and how much their unwillingness to give up will affect their actions for good or bad. I think everybody should try books like these and find out for themselves if it's going to be one that you like, a new favorite, or even if you don't want to continue the series, you might just be able to appreciate the book for a good book, singular, because it does kind of close there at the end. Like there are some weird things that are not resolved, but it does wrap itself up to where it could be just a singular book. And The Quarter Storm is available everywhere now. It came out on March 1st. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you're having a lovely weekend, and I will see you in the next one.